In the media, we hear about the threats of AI and it potentially taking away all our jobs and the end of humanity, and that's scary stuff, so I get your fear. Hi friends, I'm Magdalene, and I hope you're doing well. Welcome to my channel where I share about my journey in tech from studying computer science in uni to now working as a software engineer. So by far the most popular video on my channel is this one about 5 things I wish I knew before studying computer science. There have been a lot of questions about studying computer science and tech in general, so I thought, why not make a Q&A video to answer all these questions? The first question is, do I need to know anything about programming or computers before studying computer science or a tech-related degree? I would say that this varies depending on the entry requirements of your degree. If it explicitly specifies that there are certain subjects that you need to have taken in high school in order to apply for the degree, then yes, it would matter. However, if there's no entry requirement for your degree, then I would say no, it's not necessary to have this prior knowledge about coding or computers, but it would be very beneficial because you'll be able to follow along much easier. But that being said, the most important thing isn't actually how much knowledge you had before studying this degree, but rather how much effort you're willing to put in while you are studying this degree. Let's say there's this programming genius who's been coding since young. However, if they don't go to lectures, they don't study for exams, they don't do assignments, chances are they'll have a hard time passing the paper. But on the other hand, if you have somebody who's new to programming, but has the desire to learn and to improve, and just tries their best, I actually think they'll have a much easier time trying to pass the paper because they're willing to put in the effort. Now, of course, these are all hypothetical examples, but the point I'm trying to make here is I don't think you should feel like not having any prior knowledge would set you back from studying this degree. If you have the motivation to learn, then I have no doubt that you will succeed in this degree, and honestly, whatever you put your mind to. And fun fact, I actually wrote my first line of code at uni. The second question is, what subjects should I take in high school to prepare me for a computer science or tech-related degree? Again, you need to check if there are any specific entry requirements for your degree, but generally, I would encourage you to take subjects like maths, especially calculus, physics, and also digital technologies or something related, where you can learn coding. These should give you a strong foundation to study CS or a tech-related degree. So if you're currently in high school and you're not sure what you should study after uni, then I would strongly encourage you to just keep your options open and take a wide variety of subjects. The third question is, do I need to be good at maths to study computer science or a tech-related degree? You don't have to be a genius at maths, but it would be good if you had a strong foundation in maths because a lot of concepts in computer science require maths knowledge such as big O notation, binary mathematics, and proofs and theorems, for example. However, when it comes to actually working, from my experience as a front-end software engineer, I've realized that you don't actually really need to use maths on a day-to-day basis. Like, sure, you might need to know how to calculate the length of an array, index things right, or write an algorithm to render something, but generally it's not as difficult as the kind of maths that you would learn in uni. However, if you're currently working in tech, I'm really curious to know, do you use maths on a day-to-day basis? And if so, how much or how little do you use? The fourth question is, how do I create a portfolio? Somebody asked if they need to create a portfolio before they enter university or if it's something that they build on while they're studying. And just to clarify, what I meant by portfolio is something that you build while you're at uni to help you expand your skills and also to apply for internships and jobs. Now, what is a portfolio? A portfolio is essentially a place where you can showcase your skills and projects. It could be a website, or it could be just GitHub where you've got all your projects displayed in repos. Now, what sorts of projects should you put into your portfolio? This really depends on what career path you want to pursue. Now, if you want to get into front-end development, then I would encourage you to create a project that utilizes a front-end framework like React so that you can show the prospective employer that you indeed know how to use these frameworks and can create something out of it like a website. But what projects can you do if you don't actually have that much programming knowledge yet? I would say start small. You can get started with HTML and CSS and just create a basic website. And then from there, as you slowly build your experience, you can expand into more complex things like utilizing a front-end framework. And one thing to remember is that you don't need to know 100% of something before you can move on to the next. For example, you don't need to know all of JavaScript in order to learn how to use React. As long as you have a strong basic understanding of JavaScript, such as getting all the ES6 principles sorted, I think this should give you a strong enough springboard to learn about React. Of course, it's a good idea to have a complete understanding of JavaScript before you move on to React. But the thing is, there's so many things for us to learn in tech, and sometimes it's just so hard to keep up with everything. So we gotta be strategic with our learning and just prioritize what's the most important thing to help us to reach our goals. The fifth question is, where can I find internships? If your uni has a careers center, that will be the best place to start. But if it doesn't, you can also do some research to see if there are any internship programs in your country. For example, in New Zealand, we have something called Summer of Tech and Microsoft Student Accelerator, and these are programs that are specifically designed to connect students with tech companies. Otherwise, you can also do some research on job boards such as LinkedIn, Seek, and Indeed. And here's a pro tip. If there's a company that you really want to work at, I would strongly encourage you to cold email or cold call the CEO and tell them why you want to work there. I know it sounds kind of scary, but honestly, if you don't try, you don't know what could come out of this, and it could be the best experience you ever had. So yeah, it always pays to just try it out. Also, I've created a few resources on this topic of internships, such as this blog post on Internships 101 and this video about how to write a technical resume, so do check them out if you need some extra help. The sixth question is, what programming language should I learn? Now, this really depends on what your goals are and what kind of career path you want to pursue. For example, if you want to get into front-end development, then I would encourage you to get started with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and React. If you want to get into back-end, then you can maybe try out Python, Java, C. If you want to get into data science, then I would say SQL, Python, R, and Ruby. So yeah, these are just examples. I'd encourage you to do some research to see what sorts of languages are used predominantly in your field of interest, and then once you decide on one, just stick with it. Trying to at least get the basic foundations right before trying to jump onto the next thing. The seventh question is, what resources do you recommend for self-studying programming? I usually do a bunch of courses from YouTube, Skillshare, Udemy, and then I try to apply those skills to my own projects. These are just some of the resources that I use. I'll put them in the descriptions as well. The eighth question is, how do you stay up to date with new technologies? Honestly, it's hard. It's hard because there's always new technologies coming out and there's always new things to learn in tech. So I subscribe to a bunch of newsletters to help me stay up to date. They usually talk about new technologies coming out. They offer little tidbits of information as to what's going on in the tech ecosystem. So some newsletters I subscribe to are React Digest, Programming Digest, Bytes, and I'm sure you can find plenty of other newsletters out there. And I have a question for you actually. How do you stay up to date with new technologies? Because I'm very curious to know. The ninth question is, what computer should I use for my CS or tech-related degree? Generally, it's a good idea to get a laptop that has a decent amount of storage for all those software that you'll need to install, and also is able to efficiently run a bunch of processes. But that being said, I don't think it really matters if you get a Mac or a Windows, and obviously this is just my personal opinion. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I actually used the same laptop in uni that I used throughout high school. No, actually not really, because I only bought that laptop in my final year of high school. But yeah, I used the same laptop in uni, and that was the HP Spectre 360. So it was a Windows laptop, and because I was using what I already had, it wasn't something that I specifically picked out for studying computer science, because I hadn't decided that I was going to study computer science yet at that point in time. And it worked perfectly, and I had no issues with it, apart from the fan, which was really noisy. But now that I'm working, I'm using a MacBook at work. I'm using the M1 Pro, and this is a company laptop, so it's not my own, and I do need to return it to the company once I leave. So yeah, anyway, the bottom line is just do your research to see what sorts of laptops would be suitable for you and for your budget. And don't stress too much if you can't get your hands on the latest and most expensive model, because honestly, I don't think you need to go that extreme for uni. Okay, the 10th and final question is, what are your thoughts on the threats of AI? Okay, real talk. There has been a lot of buzz around AI recently, especially with the rise of stuff like ChatGPT and DALL-E. And it's funny because AI has been around for a long time. It's always been this interesting buzzword, but now it's slowly becoming a reality and like seeping into our everyday lives. In the media, we hear about the threats of AI and it potentially taking away all our jobs and the end of humanity. And that's scary stuff, so I get your fear. And I've seen so many comments on YouTube by students saying how they're so distraught that AI is here to take away their future before they've even started. And what is the point in even studying computer science anymore, if it's gonna be AI is just doing our jobs in the future. But if you were to ask me, what I would say is stay calm, but stay woke. And what I mean by that? So what I mean is just stay in your lane, focus on what you're doing, focus on your goals, but also try to be aware of what's going on. Know that there are these external forces out there that could potentially impact you. Personally, I don't think there's a need for us to freak out over a future that we can't control. Instead, why don't we learn to embrace AI? Why don't we learn how we can use AI to help us achieve new possibilities? I use ChatGPT for my coding work almost daily now, and my company is also trialing out GitHub Copilot. I'm also trying to learn more about the implications of AI on our future by reading books such as Human Compatible and AI 2041. And honestly, just trying to feed my mind with all these resources but trying to embrace AI at the same time has helped me to really get a holistic view of what AI actually is, instead of letting it take control over me and freak out. Because let's say, what if one day AI really does rule the world and it takes away all our jobs? But to be honest, at that point in time, I think our jobs would be the least of our concern. Maybe saving humanity would be our main concern. And regarding that point about whether it's even worth it to study computer science, it really depends on you and what your goals are, because at the end of the day, I don't think that there is any one best degree or any degree that is future-proof. So bottom line is, no one knows what the future may hold. What we can do, however, is to stay resilient in the face of uncertainty. So, my friends, let's continue to work on our goals and not be influenced by these external forces that we have no control over. So yeah, those are all the questions, and I hope I managed to answer yours. Just remember that these are my opinions and they may differ from others. So I strongly encourage you to go out there, talk to other people, do your own research, and figure out what works best for you. And for those of you who've been subscribed to me since my uni days, you'd know that I didn't post any video last year. I didn't think anybody would notice my absence, to be honest, but just because there've been a few comments asking me where I went, I thought I should do a little life update. So long story short, after I graduated from uni in Dunedin, I moved up to Auckland to begin my career as a software engineer. My plan for YouTube was to actually document my transition from uni life to working life, but that never happened. Having a 9-to-5 means that your time outside of work is quite limited. So I spent most of that time exploring Auckland, hanging out with friends, getting into fitness, trying to upskill in technical areas, and honestly, just navigating through the transition. And honestly, I'm so grateful for all the memories and growth that I had in my first year of work. But that being said, I still did want to document my first year of work somehow. So that's why I started blogging. So then why am I back on YouTube? Well, because I do read your comments still, and to know that the content that I put out like years ago still helps you guys really motivates me, and it means a lot to me. So yeah, please let me know in the comments below what sorts of content you want me to make, what sorts of content you think will be the most helpful for you. And also, if you have any video suggestion ideas, please drop them below. You can also fill in the Google form. I've talked about this form before in previous videos, but I've not updated it. Anyway, that's all from me today. I hope you enjoyed this video and got something out of it. If you liked this video, then please remember to give it a like and leave a comment. And if you think it'll be helpful for other people, then please share. And subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Good luck to all of you, wherever you are in your journey, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!